So for this first part, we will add these rubber suction feet to the back of our vortices. So you just push it down on these stubs and it should fit right. You can push it down to kind of get a better, more snug fit. And the purpose of these feet is once they attach onto a surface, it prevents the vortex from swaying too much. It keeps it in place using the power of suction. And you'll have to apply a lot of force to kind of remove this, as you can see. And the pads still don't come off. Now we've done this for both our vortices. These are the additional 50 mil heads that you put on the vortices, and you just push it and it should attach securely. Just push it on. So now we've added the suction pads and the vortex heads. Let's connect this to power and see how this works. So to connect these to power, you just plug the provided cable in here and you do that for both. So we've connected both these vortices to this power supply cable, and before we turn the vortex on, you'll see there's a button on the vortex and you can choose between on all the time, off, or touch. In touch you apply a pressure to activate the vortex, but we won't be using this option. We will be using the on option. So let's just turn the power on and see what happens. So turn on the power and you'll see both our vortexes start shaking, and this knob kind of controls the speed at which they shake. Now the problem we have is that if we turn these on, they'll always be shaking. We need a way to automatically turn these on and off so that they only turn on when we have to inject beads into our microfluidic chip. Another reason why you would want to automatically turn this on and off is if you keep the beads shaking for a long time, there's a high chance the beads will break into smaller particles and they'll shear into smaller fragments, which is something we don't want. So we only want to turn these on when our beads are about to be injected into the microfluidic chip. So we need to introduce a way of controlling these with our computer. So to control our relays on and off, we can use one of these AC power supply relay modules. And the great thing about these modules is we don't need to make any of the parts, don't have to assemble any of the parts. It automatically comes built, and the big advantage of that is you don't want to deal with AC power. It can be quite dangerous, and by having this pre-built box makes it much safer to deal with AC power without having to assemble our own box. So we'll use these pre-assembled boxes for that reason, and all you need to do is plug them in and plug in our power for these vortices into these normally off slots. So there's only one relay in one box, so we'll need two of them. So one of the vortices will go in one of these outlets, and then there's a control signal and ground wire that needs to be connected here to our pre-assembled box, and you can do that by adding jumper cables here. And the great thing about these boxes is you can see they come with this removable element where you can screw in your jumper wires using these screw terminals, which are removable, and then once you screw everything in, you can just put it back into the box here. So I made sure the power is off, and I can then connect our control box here. Make sure the power is off, and we'll do it for both the boxes. So both our boxes are now plugged in. Power is off. We can connect each of our vortices to one of the boxes. So let's do it for this one first. Just take the power cable and put it in the normally off socket. So normally off. Push it in so it will normally turn off. Then for the second vortex, we'll connect our AC power supply to our other box, again in the normally off socket plug. Okay, now we need a way to control these two boxes using a microcontroller so that we can control it using our computer. So now let's screw in our jumper cables. We will remove these screw terminals first. Alright, now we'll use a flat head 3mm screwdriver to loosen the screws. And then there are two terminals, the negative and then that's the signal. Positive is the signal pin. So negative goes in here, and then the signal would go over here, and we're using male to male jumpers. So these are male to male jumpers on both sides. Just put them in, and then we'll screw them. Alright, this terminal is done. Let's just put it back in. It's nice and tight. So let's do this for our second terminal. And then we'll put this back, push it in, and all we need to do now is connect this to our Arduino and upload a sketch, and then we can control it from our computer.